The $250,000 mark is the quiet wealth threshold where compounding starts doing more work than your paycheck. The $250,000 mark flips a quiet switch. Your money starts working harder than your paycheck. At a 7% return, that balance throws off $17,500 a year before you lift a finger. In the next 10 minutes, I will show you exactly why this matters, where the math breaks, and the one move that changes your trajectory before you turn 65. Stay with me. The numbers are smaller and far more reachable than the financial industry wants you to believe. This is the kind of retirement math your 401k provider quietly hopes you never run. Here's the context most retirement coverage skips, and why this specific math actually applies to you. The financial industry sells fear. They quote seven-figure targets that make most savers feel hopeless and freeze them into doing nothing. But the IRS tax code is full of quiet levers, catch-up contributions, employer matches, tax-free Roth conversions, designed for late-starting savers. And the math of compounding does not care what your balance was last year. It only cares what you do with the next 20. So the question is not whether you have enough today. It is whether you are pulling the levers available to you starting at 55. Time in this game is the most expensive resource on the table. Most viewers I hear from think they need a paid-off mansion or $1 million nest egg to retire with dignity. They do not. What they need is a number anchored to their actual lifestyle, not the financial industry's average. If you are watching this and you are behind, you are not alone. The median 55-year-old American is carrying less than $150,000 in retirement savings. Roughly half of households nearing retirement have less saved than 1 year of their gross income. And yet the financial industry quotes $1 million as the minimum, scaring people into accepting that retirement is impossible. That is the gap I want to close in this video. Realistic targets, realistic levers, real math. Let me walk you through the three pieces of this puzzle, one at a time. Each one stacks on the last, and by the end, you will have a number for your own kitchen table conversation. This is going to be the most useful 12 minutes of retirement math you watch this week. Segment 1. What 250 actually does. This is where the math gets specific, and where most retirement videos either skip the numbers or hide them behind a paywall. I am going to walk you through the actual arithmetic, dollar by dollar. The $250,000 milestone is not a dream number. It is a math threshold. At a 7% compound return, $250,000 earns roughly $17,500 every year, just from the market. For most American workers, that annual earning rivals or exceeds their net contributions. The crossover sneaks up on people. 1 year your contributions are doing the work. The next year your portfolio is. Take that number, $491,000, and hold it next to the figures the financial industry quotes you. The gap between the realistic number and the marketed number is where most savers lose hope they should not lose. Segment 2. The 5 shifts that happen at $250K. This is where the math gets specific, and where most retirement videos either skip the numbers or hide them behind a paywall, at the fourth layer of the math. I'm going to walk you through the actual arithmetic, dollar by dollar, at the fourth layer of the math. First, the standard 401k base contribution. In 2026, the limit sits at $23,500 per year for under 50 workers. Second, the employer match. The median U.S. employer match is 4% of salary, free money most savers leave on the table. Third, after age 50, the IRS catch-up contribution unlocks an extra $7,500 per year of tax-deferred space. Fourth, the spousal IRA. Even a non-working spouse can contribute up to $7,000 a year if the household has earned income. Fifth, home equity. Most 55-year-olds in this country are sitting on more equity than retirement savings. Sixth, the HSE or health savings account, which after age 65 becomes a stealth retirement vehicle. Now stack 2 or 3 of those levers together, and the contribution gap closes faster than most people expect. A 55-year-old maxing the 401k plus catch-up plus a 4% employer match is contributing close to $40,000 per year. That is not a stretch goal. That is the standard middle-class American with one engaged HR department and a calendar. And every one of those contributions buys time, the most expensive ingredient in the compounding recipe. The reason most people miss this is not laziness, it is paperwork friction and a lack of one clear walkthrough. Once you set the auto deductions and the contribution percentages, the rest is muscle memory. This year, 2026, is the perfect window to lock in those automations because of the new Secure Act provisions. And the cost of pushing this off another year is steeper than people realize because each delayed contribution loses 2 decades of compounding. Take that number, $491,000, and hold it next to the figures the financial industry quotes you at the fourth layer of the math. The gap between the realistic number and the marketed number is where most savers lose hope they should not lose, at the fourth layer of the math. Quick question for you before I run the next set of numbers. Drop one number in the comments, the dollar amount you currently contribute to retirement each month. Just the number, no explanation. Whatever it is. I want to see where this audience actually lands, because the median for 55-year-olds in this country is far lower than most people guess. And I will read the comments on the next video and tell you the median I see, so you can compare yourself. 90 seconds to type a number. Then come back, because the next math is the part that changes how you think about retirement. Segment 3, why the path from 250K to 500K is faster. This is where the math gets specific, and where most retirement videos either skip the numbers or hide them behind a paywall, at the sixth layer of the math. I'm going to walk you through the actual arithmetic, dollar by dollar, at the sixth layer of the math. At $250,000, 10 years of compounding at 7% doubles the balance. Without adding another contribution, the balance reaches roughly $492,500 by year 10. That is the threshold superpower. Your past contributions become your full-time coworker. Compounding is exponential, not linear. The first 10 years feel slow. The next 10 feel like a snowball. This is why investors who hit $250,000 young become millionaires almost by accident. And it is why bumping past $250,000 in your 50s is the single most consequential financial moment in middle age. The contribution rate stops mattering as much. The balance starts mattering more. That is the inflection, the moment your portfolio quietly becomes the bigger half of your financial life. And almost nobody at your office is going to notice the day it happens. The clock just keeps running, and the balance keeps doubling. Take that number, $491,000, and hold it next to the figures the financial industry quotes you, at the sixth layer of the math. The gap between the realistic number and the marketed number is where most savers lose hope they should not lose, at the sixth layer of the math. Now zoom out. Here's what all of this means in plain English. $250,000 sounds modest next to $1 million. But it is the threshold where your portfolio quietly becomes a coworker. The retirement industry sells you a number that is calibrated to make you feel poor. The math, when you actually run it for your own household, gives you a number calibrated to your real life. And the difference between the two numbers is often $500,000 of stress. Anchoring to the right number changes every decision after this video: how much you save, when you stop working, what you sell, what you keep. That is the reframe. Stop chasing arbitrary thresholds and start chasing the threshold tied to your actual lifestyle. And critically, the math is forgiving. Every year of consistent contribution, every dollar of fee compression, every percentage point of return, they all bend the curve. Compounding does not punish lateness as harshly as the financial industry implies. Even at age 55, with 20 years of compounding ahead, more than 70% of your endpoint balance will come from market growth, not contributions. That means if you're in your 40s or 50s watching this, the boat has not sailed. It just means you need to rig the sails differently than someone who started at 25. And the levers, catch-up contributions, employer match, low-cost index funds, debt elimination are all things you control today. Not next year, today. Every month you wait is a month of compounding the math will never recover. And every month you start, you buy a future you can actually live in. The seed money does not need to be huge. It needs to be deposited and then forgotten about. That is the secret most retirement coverage refuses to admit. Boring beats brilliant in this game every single time. The investors who hit comfortable retirement numbers were rarely the smartest in the room. They were the most consistent. They picked a number, automated the contribution, and left the markets alone for 2 decades. That is the script. It is unglamorous, repeatable, and almost everybody underrates it because it is too simple to feel valuable. But the math does not care how it looks. It only cares that you fed it and waited. So here is your one move tonight. Open your retirement account and increase your contribution by exactly 1%. That is it. 1% now compounds into roughly $2,808 of additional retirement money over 20 years. It is the smallest move with the largest leverage available to you this week. If this video helped you see your number more clearly, hit the subscribe button so the next one finds you on Friday. Subscribers see every weekly retirement breakdown the moment it drops. The sand keeps falling either way. The only question is whether the contribution percentage is moving with it. Pick the smallest move you can take seriously, then take it before you close this tab. Secure your license to chill. Pick the one number tonight. Increase the contribution and let compounding handle the rest.